Alex Rangel, you've been on Scam Nation, and yet I get this weird vibe. I don't want to say you're nervous, because I feel like you'd kick my butt, but it seems like you're tighter doing Modern Rogue.
Yeah.
Alex, you are my number one.
Yeah, usually I got cards, a microphone, something.
It's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fine.
The more you say that, the less it sounds like everything's gonna be fine.
It's gonna be fine, Alex.
So we're about to begin on an epic quest that begins with a rapidly decreasing currency, in this case a $1 Sacagawea or George Washington gold coin, and ends up becoming what?
We're gonna turn this into a piece of jewelry, a piece of fancy jewelry.
It doesn't sound like it would be very fancy, but I am looking, and that looks very fancy.
Ooh. Shiny.
First of all, why this coin? Because I assume there's different alloys, different minerals. What is a good coin? What's a bad coin?
So bad coin is anything with high iron content or high zinc content. So what was it? Is that in the 40s when you have zinc pennies?
Steel
You have steel
pennies?
pennies, so
Yeah.
steel high iron content. That's a terrible one. Like you'll go to bend this thing and it's not happening. Well, with zinc, the opposite is just gonna melt.
What's the one where your fingers turn green?
That's what I was about to
Yeah,
ask.
anything with nickel content in it. So this has nickel in it, right? It's a blend, nickel, copper. You know, as long as you have at least 50, 60% silver, you're gonna avoid that green.
So what is an American golden dollar made of?
So most of that's gonna be like copper based, and then you're gonna have that blend like zinc, nickel, all of that in there.
So I guess the first part is probably taking one of these and I'm guessing punching a small hole. So we don't have to do any flattening right out of the gates or anything like that?
Yep. The first thing, so if we're doing this like at the basic level, what you need to find is that dead center of that coin.
Okay.
There's a couple ways we can do that, right? We could measure it, you could eyeball it. They make a little tool, actually, a little plastic tool for round objects that you can set in, you can find the center of that there.
How important is it that we are accurate?
It's pretty important.
Okay.
Because once you get into the folding process, if you're off just a little bit, you're gonna start to warp and, you know, have this weird, you know, it's not gonna look like a round coin.
Now, do we use just pressure or do we have to heat it up or anything like that?
We're gonna heat it up, yeah. We're gonna learn a little bit of science today. We're talking
All
about
right.
annealing.
All right.
Annealing. So after we anneal the coin, well, the process of annealing is we're gonna get it to like a lukewarm red, and then we're gonna submerge that in water instantly.
Oh.
So the difference that we're forging is that we would get it hot and then just let it cool and hang out on its own to harden that steel.
Okay,
We
but
want
we
the
want
opposite.
it to be softer.
Yeah, we want it to be softer. But we're gonna anneal it as we start to fold it, as we start to turn it into something.
Okay.
Because we're working metal and we're doing what we shouldn't be doing to it, right? We're manipulating and stretching it and moving all those molecules around.
Good point. Safety precautions.
Yeah.
Safety.
That was
Be safe.
I was about to ask when we start heating it up, are there like any gases or particles or anything like that that we need to know about?
But the temperatures that we are using, we don't necessarily have to worry about offset gas, right? So I wear like a respirator mask because I'm sanding a lot of silver, just because I don't want the silver dust. in
You don't
my
want, you don't
lung.
want to turn into a Smurf?
Yeah.
Well, so how do we find the center?
So I have a fancy dancy punch here, but if you're at home or just, you know, scrounging through the garage or your buddy's yard sale, you don't need that. Like this is literally, I think like $15 from Harbor Freight. We have a little block here. It's gonna have, you know, different gauge little, what do we call this? Receiving ends. And then you have your punch here. So let's pretend we're using a 5/8 hole. What we would do is we would mark center on here with a pen or a Sharpie, however we found our center.
And at this point, we're just, as long as we're in general in the right spot.
Right, yep. So we get that lined up here. The punch would line on top of that. We'd place this on a heavy surface, and then with a brass hammer,
Oh.
we're going to hit this down and punch a hole through the center of it.
Now you say brass hammer. Is this made of brass or is it for brass?
It is made of brass. Like this is
Okay.
a completely brass hammer. They call it a jeweler's hammer as well. But
Okay.
because if you look at all those dings on the top of there, I want this to be softer than whatever I'm hitting. So I do have this a little bit fancier version of this center punch here. So this is going to find dead accurate center every single time. So the first thing that we're going to do is we'll take a look at our pieces here. So this is your punch. this is your die, the receiving end. So what I'll have you do is this coin, Jason, is gonna go inside of here, right?
Okay.
So if you put it flat on the table, kind of, you see there's a little bit of a wiggle room, like if you
A little bit.
a little tiny bit, right? So we talked about getting that like dead accurate in the center. So I wanna eliminate that wiggle room. So take your trusty shop towel, and then here's what I'd like you to do. Remove that coin. Perfect. I'll put this there, and what you're gonna do is just kind of shove that in around that little guided there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, you feel that?
Yeah.
Yeah, see how it's sitting in there now? Right, Brian, can you do me a favor?
Yep.
Put your thumb straight on that coin, and what we want to do is we want to peel away this
Everything
everything except for that.
Okay. This is kind of like when you have a screw that is having a hard time getting a bite into it. So you take some, like, I don't know, electrical tape or something to wrap around it.
Yep. So now we've eliminated any of that wiggle, right? So that's good. So basically what we want to do is we want to eliminate enough that it's not going to get caught up in these threads. So that's perfect there.
Okay.
Yep. So we got it nice and seated in there. I'll kind of, you know when it's nice and seated because you can see this perfect, circle in the back. And there's going to be a moment you'll feel, bing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Perfect. So can you unscrew that for me, sir?
Right. I can't imagine how tedious this was without
that. Yeah. And then sometimes like you're doing good, and you get to making the coin and then you realize, wait a minute, something's off. So here's what we got right here, right? We have that punch that's obviously through that coin.
Looks like the middle to me.
Yep. But if you were to try to pull this off, the only thing that would happen right now is this would come off of that coin.
Okay. Because everything's super tight.
It is tight in there.
And meanwhile, the missing part, I assume, is at the bottom of that bucket.
Oh, yeah. There's Franklin Pierce and his dumb face looking back at me.
So I'm going to take this from you, and what we're going to do is we're going to feed this reverse-wise.
Oh.
And this is a nylon hammer. So what you can do is you'll hold this out in front of you like so, and you're just going to hit that down.
I got the televised experience using a mallet, so.
My kid can hit harder. Come on, man. You have a hammer. It's a window.
Shut up.
Come on.
It's indestructible.
Pretty good at it.
Pretty good.
Yeah. See?
Yeah.
Look
Yeah,
at that.
you are.
Yeah, you were there. Come on, man.
Nailed it.
Yep.
Okay, well, I'm going to leave the rest of it to you.
So here's what we got, right? We have this will pop out of there. We get rid of all of that. So now we have coin, dead center hole.
Okay.
So if we were to go to move this and start manipulating it, we have this cut edge that we need to worry about.
Right.
That cut edge is the weakest part of this coin right now. With some of these silver coins that I work with that are like from the 1800s, they're over, people don't think about it, we're talking about 120, 130-year-old coin that's been in the dirt. Like literally, grandpas put coins in jars and throw them in the dirt, and they've been in there for 130 years. You start working on it and they'll just rip in half.
Now, my dumb brain would take a Dremel tool and just sort of widen the hole, but I'm gonna bet that's not what we're gonna do.
You could. So if you had a Dremel, you could put like a light sandpaper, like a 320, a 400, something like that. It's overkill.
Yeah.
So for like $5, you can get one of these guys.
What is that?
This is called a deburring tool.
It's a nose trimmer.
Yeah.
Get all the burrs out.
But this little blade right here is made out of carbide steel.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you want it sharp so that you're never in a tug of war between the product and the tool.
Right. Yeah, exactly right. So what this is going to do, I'm going to have you do this side, and then Brian, I'm going to have you do the other side.
Okay.
You will notice that there's the bite, right? I'm going to hold this firm in my left hand, and we're just going to go around, and you start to see that peel out already. And we're just gonna go nice and slow on that.
Oh, okay, and it looks like the blade rotates?
The blade does rotate.
Okay.
Yep. So you'll start to see that material kind of curl up on you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's, it's almost like a potato peeler in a way?
Kind of, yeah. And you're getting that hard edge out of there.
Like, what's funny is just picturing it, I'm getting jealous, and I'm like, I want to feel it. It's like tactile ASMR.
You're jealous? I'm nervous. I'm like, how's Hulk hands gonna screw this up? So how long do I do this?
Oh yeah, I think you're good. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So this is the side that you'll be working on, Mr. Brushwood.
Yeah.
So what you can do, which I didn't tell you, advanced method is I'm gonna hold this vertical. I'm gonna take this tool. I'm actually gonna put a little bit of pressure and I'm just gonna go in a circle to where really.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it rotates on its own. Ooh, that's tasty.
Brian is stimming.
I mean, the exciting part is I don't feel unsafe, he says right before he slices everything open. And then really, as long as we feel it
Right.
and we don't feel burrs, we're good.
We're good. So what we want to do, we're just going to take 220 sandpaper. So 220 sandpaper. We don't need anything crazy. And then we want to just smooth that piece out that we cut. So I like to, fold it something like this. We'll put it in there, and then you're just going to literally smooth that edge out, keeping it kind of at a, little, I don't know if I call that 45, but an angle, and make sure that we get all that edge that we cut there.
Now, so far, this is going really smoothly, but I had always heard that jewelry and metalsmithing on the small scale was tedious, painstaking work.
Yeah. We've just got to the cut part.
Oh, okay. We're not done, moron.
Now we got a coin that's been punched, it's been deburred, it's been sanded. Now we're ready to bang away on it.
Okay.
Right?
Oh,
Yeah.
finally, we get to start.
Yeah. So you will need this tool. This is what
Magic
they call
wand.
a jeweler's mandrel.
That's what I meant.
Yep. This one is heavy steel, jeweler's mandrel.
This is it a measuring device to find out what size
let's
your
see what
ring
size
is?
you are here.
Yeah, I guess I'm a...
You have
Eight and a
tiny
half.
fingers.
you know what they say? Tiny fingers, gigantic, important,
Yeah. Warm heart.
beloved.
Tiny fingers, warm heart.
Right, yeah.
Tiny fingers,
Tiny fingers, big Twitter.
incomprehensible intellect.
So this is one of the most important parts here. You have to decide, because every coin's gonna be different. There's a good side and an okay side, right?
Because the whole shape we're going for is folded.
Right.
Right. Okay.
So one of these sides is going to be the inside, and one is going to be the outside.
That's got to be the outside.
I
with the
absolutely agree.
United
Yeah,
States
you
of
got
America and all that stuff.
you got the nice United States of America, the phrasing. You have the torch.
Okay, so the side that you want will go on the top side, right? And
Yeah,
then-
exactly
okay.
right. Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
because we're going to fold this down. So again, this is what literally started my journey on this was this right here. You guys have worked with PVC over the years so many different times.
Kind of pros, yeah.
This is a 3/4 inch Schedule 40 PVC. So we know what makes Schedule 40 Schedule 40?
It's hard, it's strong.
Yeah. That's
really strong.
Yeah, it's really strong. So it's this thick, 2 in a row. We look at it, it's looking nice and straight over there, right? Look, like if we spin it, it's pretty straight. on
Okay.
there. Yep.
Oh, in case it got bent or something like that.
Right. This is going on top of it there, and we're literally going to take this nylon hammer, and we're going to, and you put on your favorite show of Dawson's Creek, and you sit down, and you start watching Dawson.
Now, this is one where you intentionally want to take your time. You don't want to go to town.
Right. This is not oh man, I could just whack this and do the fastest job, because what I'm doing is I'm hitting, and then eventually I'm gonna rotate. If you would gain 25 extra pounds, you could get one of these. What I like to do is put that right around here, and then I'll move the whole piece as I'm going.
So you can't get mad at Pacey, you're just
Yeah.
yeah.
Because then you end up with this wobbled, it's not really looking pretty. So who wants to give this a whack?
I'll try a few, but my question is, how often do I want to check in on whether or not...
So we're going to go about 2 measurements down on this.
Okay.
And take a peek and see where we're at.
Okay, so right now we're barely at the second line.
Yep.
Okay. So... not a lot of progress.
No, right.
Feel like this is going to take a while, but just keep on going, huh?
Yeah, you're going to keep on going.
So little after 15 minutes or so, how far down should we be?
Oh,
So,
we're getting
yeah,
a
look at
little
that.
uneven
Yeah,
though.
yeah,
It's uneven.
yeah. So what we can easily do is we'll take the pointy end of this.
Just to straighten it up?
Just to kind of get it unwobbly. Yeah, so we just want to make sure we'll get it straightened back out again. And yeah, the whole time this is checking your work. You're tapping and checking, tapping and checking, tapping and checking.
Okay, so you can start to see how it's folding.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Yeah, you can start to see that edge coming down on there.
It does look like one side is a little bit lopsided. To correct, would you just make sure to hit on the other side?
What we'll do is we'll do exactly what he's doing now. Is you just tap it up, rotate, rotate, rotate.
Got it.
Because eventually what we're going to do is we're going to get into the girth of this mandrel, and that's going to help size as well.
You gotta have good mandrel girth.
Yeah, good mandrel
That's what I was
girth.
always saying.
So at this point, we've moved how many ring sizes?
He's got a pretty good fold on there right now. What are we looking at right there? So we're like sitting around like size 6, 7. So I think this would be a good time to anneal the coin.
Ah.
Yeah, so we put some work into it. We've gotten down to a good size in there. So we're gonna go through an annealing process. So we wanna take that off. So we just have a little, pair of tweezers here. I like these because they'll hold on to it. So we just need a little bit of water, and we're just gonna use that to quench that.
And how hot?
So
Just a red hot?
What we might not see here is that we're going for like kind of red hot. It sounds stupid, but what they call it is a glow warm or a warm red.
Okay.
So where it's not like bright red, but you just see this like kind of almost iridescent.
Like dying embers of a fire.
Right.
Level.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And on average, it's about 30 seconds. So about
to heat
30
it up?
seconds, and you want to rotate as you're going through.
Okay.
Okay, so you want it
Yep.
nice and even.
So see that turning green?
Yep.
I believe that's your copper. See that right there? We got 2 different colors going on.
Yep.
So now's a good time, I think, if we stop the fire.
Yep.
See that glow?
Yeah.
And go ahead and dunk it. Yep, perfect. We can let it hang out there for like 5 seconds, and then you want to just wipe that excess off of there. That's it.
So that's not going to make it more brittle, or it does?
You're actually making it softer. The annealing process is we're making that metal soft. If you were to heat it and then let it sit on the table and let it cool to room temperature naturally, that would harden the skin.
Got it. Got it.
But since we quenched it so quickly.
Right.
Okay.
So this is also a good point to bring up this. So it's a little bit dirtier than it was before. So this is what you call a fire scale. So before we got into some of these different methods of finishing a piece of jewelry, patina, if you will, a lot of people in the olden days would leave this, polish out the high points and leave this on the fire scale. In the jeweler's world now, that they don't vibe with the fire scale. They want you to clean it completely and then apply a patina later on to give it some highlight.
Got it.
But right now, this is what you call a soft piece of metal. So as we're working with this, it should be a little bit easier to work on there.
So do we continue down the same path? Yeah, I guess so.
Yep, we're gonna continue down, keep tapping it down. Hopefully we'll just get a little bit further, and then we're gonna do one more trick. What we're gonna do is at this point, we're gonna take it and then we're gonna pop it off and turn it around.
Oh, because it's at this point and we're not afraid of it folding over in the wrong direction.
Right. So at this point here, you could even take a look, and you're looking at your shape. Like right now, we're almost to like a size 10, but we still have this edge here that could be corrected, right? It's not sitting tight on the mandrel. When you look at it, there's a little bit of a gap there.
Yeah.
So at this point in time, I would literally take this nylon mandrel and start shaping it around the mandrel. And then this was like sitting in front of the TV and literally just doing this. And what you'll start to notice is that eventually this is going to start to slide down as well because you're creating space within there. It's starting to look like a ring now.
It already does, yeah. So if I've done my job right, it's starting to bounce around.
Yeah, so you get that bouncing around, and that is where you've closed in that gap around there, and it's pretty round right now. I mean, look at this thing.
Nice.
Pretty round and solid.
It's starting to look like a ring.
It's starting to look like a pretty dang good ring right here.
Yeah, so at this point, you've won when it's pretty much just a straight cylinder,
Right.
which is why it was bouncing on the
Right.
cone. Now, cast good lookicus.
This is called liver of sulfur.
I thought I heard you
This
right.
is a gel. Give a little whip from about right here, and you can just describe to the what with this. Yeah.
Oh, God. It smells like foot fungus after Satan pops his Nikes off on a warm day.
Brian likes it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely, I was about to say, it's like sulfur, and then I realized it's called liver of sulfur. Yeah.
Normally we'd have some nice hot water
Okay.
over here, right? So we'll go put a few drops in there. Yeah, perfect right there. We'll use that to kind of stir that up there.
And,
Yeah, look at that.
what's this gonna do?
What it's going to do is we're going to apply a patina, that pretty coat to there. Before we can apply that patina,
It's like a glass of farts, man.
it is a glass of farts. When I do this in a workshop, you can smell it everywhere. So you could have like some quadruple zero steel wool. These are just like some old, what do they call it? Emery board.
Yeah, nail file things.
Yeah, nail file. This is a real light, but I'm going to take off that fire scale. Really get all that black out of there.
And how important is it that we get it all the way clean, or?
It's important because the same way our finger oils are gonna have you seen these videos with Dawn dish soap, and they'll put a canvas with like Dawn dish soap and then spray paint all over? Have you seen this?
Yeah.
Your fingers are doing the same thing. Those oils that you're leaving behind are going to prevent like the patina from sticking.
Got it.
So we want to make sure this is clean. In fact, what I'll do is after I've removed this fire scale, is I'll take this to the sink, hot water, Dawn dish soap, and just really scrub it down as well. So I get the outside and the inside. So once we have it all cleaned up and we've washed it and everything, we're just gonna put that inside of your fart water.
Just drop it in.
Just drop it in your fart, yep.
Oh, got it on my hand.
Got him.
So how long, what's happening right now? Now it's what, bonding?
Yes, so there's a chemical process that is changing the actual chemical compound of what's going on the surface of that ring. And then let's see what it looks like now. So, I want to see if we can find, there it is.
Oh yeah, you can
So
see pieces
already-
of it, yeah.
So see, already we have all these dark spots in there.
Yeah.
That's great. So
Yep.
so basically we just upped the contrast on everything visually.
Right. And that's the whole purpose of it, right? So that when we look at it, we can see all those little details. In a Walking Liberty $50, it doesn't have the most detail, but when you apply this patina, all of a sudden things pop up in that coin that you didn't know were there.
So I assume, is there some another level of rubbing that we have to do?
Yep. So
or-
what I would do is I would take this, I would clean that and wash off. Actually, I would even take this with a little bit of baking soda. So we think about like acids and bases.
Right.
We're gonna cancel this from continuing to.
Oh, yeah, you've got to stop this from etching in.
It's to stop it from etching in. Exactly right. So we can clean that off. And now at this point, we're ready to do what we did before with that, little emery board. But
Yeah, so at this point, it looks like fine brass, but
Right.
but it's roughly the color of
A
an
penny.
old penny. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So right now I'm looking at it, and all these parts is where I want to shine. So,
Okay.
So I know just by watch that right.
You got a
there.
really soft
Yeah,
touch
yeah,
with it,
thank
too.
you. Yeah. So look, if we go through right now, all those letters are just
It
popping
suddenly
out.
does
it's
just
just
pop.
popping out, right? We get that edge that we want. You want to give it a whirl? Going light over it, you'll see all those highlights just start to pop out. And you can kind of judge what you like and how much pressure you want to put on there.
Is there something you add, like let's say it's perfect at some point, is there a coating that you put on to protect it at that point?
So they make a couple of coatings for these types of materials that are notorious for turning your finger green.
Yep.
So one, you could just spray it, clear coat, right? That'll last for a couple of months. You'd have to do it like every month or so. You'd have to respray it, clear coat. And then what some guys are doing is they're taking these and they're powder coating them clear. And that'll never come off.
How's that looking?
Dude,
Yeah, it's looking
looks
pretty good, huh?
Amazing.
Pretty sharp.
Yeah, dude, that looks amazing.
That's really cool.
I guess we have an announcement to make. For a very limited run, Alex will personally make one of these for the folks at home. So head on over to gimme.scamstuff.com. We'll give away 5 of them.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, stay on that email list and we'll let you know when you're going to take on commissions.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What else you got to plug?
Man, it'd be tight if they could, shoot on right over this over to scamnation.com.
Yeah.
To film up some more fun stuff over there.
Done and done. So do we have to fight over these?
Yeah, that's the finale. Is
Oh,
that you get
okay.
this,
Does it,
and then you get this.
I want it.
Yeah.
does it fit?
And this fat thing. Oh, it actually
Yeah.
fits quite well.
They're pretty close.
Almost perfect.
Yeah.
Modern Rogue is supported in part by viewers like you at patreon.com/modernrogue. In the description, you can find all of our credits and additional ways to support the show.
What is this?
Oh,
It's a surprise.
somebody went to K Jewelers.
Oh, oh.
Oh.
Whoa.
Oh, is this a real silver dollar?
That's an 1800s Morgan silver dollar.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, I just want to give you a hug. Thank you, Alex.